Guys, how are you all doing? How's your day going? And if it's just starting, how was your night? Hope you had an amazing night. And yeah, the the month's about to end, so I guess happy new month in advance because I don't know when next I'll be making another video. Either way, I decided to do an introduction to Python because Python is like the most popular programming language out there. So yes, I know we started working on HTML, and I haven't uploaded anything on like the CSS aspect. So after this video, I'm going to see if I can upload that. But let's dive into Python. So I'm sure every single person, even people who are not related to programming per se, know that there's a language out there called Python, and they know it's for some reason a very big deal in programming. And I'm sure like some people who are even learning programming don't know why Python is such a big deal. All they know is that the development market is in high request for people with that knowledge. So I'm just going to use this video to let you all know why Python is in high demand. And hopefully, this video is going to be able to guide you on whether or not Python is the language you should be learning. I'm also going to work on another video, which is just basically a guide to development, which language you should learn and why you should learn said languages. But let's focus on Python. So Python is a cross-platform development or cross-platform programming language. It is extremely easy. It's user-friendly. It is also flexible. I say this in the sense that Python can be used to develop so many things. You can Python is used by web developers, it's used by game developers, it's used by software developers, it's used by data scientists and data analysts. It's extremely broad, but the frame language Python is very easy to learn. It's not frustrating like other programming languages which can easily um mistake, and it's a very beautiful language, and God bless the man who created the language. But yeah, let's get into the basics of Python so you can like get your footing and get your finding. So how do you make use of Python as a programming language? First, you would need to have Python running in your system, and you need to have it linked to your path. So you just go to python.org. Alright, so on the Python website, you can see you can download Python 6, Python 3. You just download it. Once you download it, I already have it, so I'm not going to download it again. But once you download it, it's going to give you an executable file which you would run, and just it's going to ask you questions like add to parts. So just make sure you click add to parts. So once it's downloaded and added to parts, you may want to add some of you want to install a text editor. I am using Visual Studio Code as I always do, but you can use PyCharm is a very good Python text editor. So yeah, use what you find fit. Now we're going to create our first file. So you just give it whatever you want to name it and end it with the extension of .py. So here we have our first Python. Okay, it's not a program yet. Usually at this stage is when I'll show you the basic structure of the app, but Python doesn't really have any structure per se. Python's just it's very linear. That is one of the main reasons why people like Python. It's almost hard to mess it up once you've gotten a grip of it. So we're just going to quickly run something on Python, and would run to the terminal so you can see how to run a Python program. So running Python, let's print something. So you just print and you add the text you want to print. Usually it's placed within I just still don't know what you call this inverted commas. I don't know. And let's print everybody's favorite hello world. All right, you save your program and let me open up a terminal so I can show you how to run a Python program. So um oh, I'm using Visual Studio Code, so I can easily just run it from Visual Studio Code. But if maybe you are using your command prompt or you're using a different type of shell or something, once you create the um file and you have brought to the location, you are going to just Python, or I think sometimes there's some units running with Python, then the name of your file, test.py, and you just run it and it will print hello world here. So we just ran our very first Python program. And another very important feature that most programmers, or actually all programmers, need to have an understanding of is comments, because it helps. Like once you start writing large programs, you'd need to be able to track down what each individual section of your code is for. So commenting in Python is very easy. All you do is just put your hashtag and write whatever you want to be in the comments. Okay. Another thing would need to cover is variables. So how are variables declared in Python? It's very straightforward. First, you need the variable name. In this case, a. You need the um, assignment operator, and the variable you want to assign to it, and you save it. So let's print out this variable and let's run it. Okay. So all right, so the next thing we want to be able to do, one thing you must always be able to do in a program, especially when you want it to be dynamic, you need to be able to receive input and give out or display an output. So I've already shown you guys how to make use of print. So now let's work on making of on receiving an input from a user. So assuming you want to receive an input and the variable want to receive an input and placing a variable and the variable's name is d, we are going to pass in input. Like say Python is very straightforward. All you just do is pass input and include inside this bracket. This alone is complete. But you may want to go a step further and give them a prompt. So you can maybe say enter here and close the prompt. And next we want to display what the input gave. So we are going to print out the variable d and we're going to save it. So later on in the next session of the video, we are going to I've been saying I'm going to show you how you can specify the type of input you want to get. We're going to start seeing things like conditions or try except. We're going to get into all that. So you can maybe dive down to a specific type of variables you want to, a specific data type you want to be able to receive and whatnot. So it's asking us to enter some let's just enter the letter J and it prints it out for us. So yes. Okay, next thing we want to look at are operators. These are things that help us to carry out different types of operations on our program. It can help us to carry out addition, subtraction, multiplication, and every other thing there is. So let's go through the first type of operation, arithmetic operations. So here I don't really need to do a mathematical or to show you anything programmatically. So I'm just going to pull up a, a table for you. Oh, you know what? Let me just do it. I'm already here, Louise. Right, so for arithmetic operations, let's set A equals to 5, and let's say B is equals to 9. And arithmetic operators. So we have addition. So the first one is going to be okay. Let me just get print. Okay. So the first one is going to be A plus B. The next one is going to be A subtracted from B. Next is going to be A multiplied, and for multiplication in program, as we already know, is an asterisk. Next, we're going to have divide, which will always give you a float. Float is a data type which has decimals after it. And next, we're going to have modules. Modules is usually the percentage side. And this one shows like the remainder of a division, especially when like something is indivisible by. I hope you understand. You can read further on this. Then there's floor division, which gives a whole number instead of a float. So it doesn't attach any decimals to it. And last, there's an exponent which is raised to the power of. So this is going to be A raised to the power of B. You can save it and you run it and you can see all the outputs you have here. You can see these two ones here were divisions, but this one only gave the whole number because anything after the decimal is blind to it. Okay. Another type of operator is the comparison operator. This is where you have things like greater than, less than, equal to in this case, because and the equal sign is already used to as an assignment operator. So equal to is going to be double equation sign. So you would have not equal to, which is going to be an exclamation with the equal sign. You would have equal to or greater than, or sorry, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. This usually comes in handy when you're starting to work with conditions or loops. So you have things like if A is greater than B, then you start running your conditions. So that is when you actually get to use it. Then there are the logical ones. This is where you have and, or, and not. So to really understand how this one works, you may have to go back um to your um logic gates. And yeah, those are like the main ones we'll cover. There are still other ones. There is the assignment operators, which is this one I covered. There are other type of assignment operators where you have your equal sign, but you have things in front of it like plus. So what this will do is get the current value of A and add it to, like, okay, if you have um if you have the current value of X, so you get the current value of A, sorry, and you add it to 5 here. So it's going to be the current A plus 5, and the answer you get to be pushed into A. And same to applies for things like minus. So it's just the whole arithmetic stuff you carry, but just placing them in front of the assignment operator. And yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know about operators. So yeah. Alright, so there's one final thing I would like to cover in this video before I call it quits. So there's this stuff that is called namespace. It's usually a collection of readily created variables which can be accessed once access has been granted. So there's this stuff in Python called import. This is very important once you want to start working on broad projects. It allows you to access external files and external variables which are not readily available to your program. So you can either import from something you created, or you can import from something that someone else created and added to the Python file, or whatever you call it. So the first type is the built-in namespace. These are the ones that are already present in your they're already like present inside your Python program. You don't need to import it. Things like print or input and any other thing like relating to that. Next is module. Module, they are like global namespace, and you hear a lot of like modules, like something that almost everybody in Python talks about. And there's this model that is very, very popular in Python programming. It's called this. So you just import this, and it's supposed to be like the Zen of Python. So if you run it, you can just go on your own, run it, and just read through it. It's going to give you like it's like a beautiful poetry of Python. I don't know how to describe, but just read it. And lastly is a local namespace. It's called a function. This is when you define a function on your own, which will have certain things that later on in your program you can access. So you can either define the function inside your main folder, or you can create another folder, define the function there, import that folder, and access the variable. So it's very easy. There's not much explaining that needs to be done. But in our next video, we're going to start going into conditions and loops. So I hope to see you then. I would leave a link to every single thing that you need linked in the description below. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and have a beautiful day. Bye, guys.